Good morning, MPC. We are taking you live from Beijing, China. Kasama na po natin si Chief Presidential Legal Counsel at Presidential Spokesperson, Salvador Panelo. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to all.
Question? Do you have any statement, Secretary?
No statement. I've already issued a statement.
Ace Romero.
Secretary, how did the President raise the arbitral ruling during the bilateral meeting with President Xi?
How?
Yeah.
Well, in a friendly, assertive, unequivocal manner. That's how.
When the Chinese President said China does not recognize the ruling, how did the President respond?
Well, I think he expected that because from the very start, that was their position, even prior to the visit. But nevertheless, as he committed himself to the Filipino people and to Mr. Xi himself, he raised that issue.
He did not challenge the Chinese President's statement that they do not recognize the ruling.
No, but we already
There was
said
no
that.
attempt on his part to change the Chinese President's
he
mind.
already said that our position is also the same. We are not changing ours. And they both agreed after that that should not be the sum total, the conflict, the issue of conflict should not be the sum total of the relationship between the two countries. And that they should move forward, but at the same time continue with the dialogue peacefully on that issue.
Can you describe the mood when the issue was being discussed?
Oh, very friendly. Obviously, the two have mutual respect for each other, if not admiration.
Okay, thank you, Sec.
We understand that President Xi is reputed to be one who is against corruption. And I think he can relate with President Duterte on that aspect.
So were you with the president during the smaller meeting?
No, we were at the other side.
So as
Other
early
room.
as the bilateral agreement, a bilateral meeting, that the arbitral ruling had been raised, as early as that.
General, not specifically.
Okay,
on
but
on
there
a
is-
general matter with respect to problems on West Philippine Sea.
But there was a smaller meeting, no?
Yeah, there was a smaller meeting attended by the President, Secretary Locsin, Senator Bongo, and Executive Secretary Medaldea.
Wala pa yung military establishment natin.
Wala akong nakita.
All right, sir. When the president said prior to going to China that he is going to raise the arbitral ruling, what did he seek to accomplish? What does he want China to do when he says, I will insist on the arbitral ruling?
Well, he wanted to settle the issue, but the issue is still unresolved, so they agreed that they will maintain the dialogue peacefully.
The issue being sovereign rights over certain areas?
With respect to the, yes, arbitral ruling.
So can we say, sir, that as far as the objective of the president is concerned, because the ruling says 9-line is invalid. So
Yeah.
basically, China has nothing to latch on, right? So paano yung gusto niya sanang gagawin ng China in terms of maybe presence in the area or activities in the area when he says, I will insist on the arbitral award?
Obviously, what the president wanted was for them, for the Chinese government, to recognize the arbitral ruling. But since from the inception, the Chinese government did not recognize first the international arbitral body, saying that they did not even attend it, that it was against it, so they didn't recognize the ruling.
Okay. Marlon Ramos, Inquirer. Microphone.
Good morning. Sir, you mentioned a while ago that the president actually expected the reaction from President Xi?
No, I
Did
was.
Did he expect President Xi to reject outright?
He is not surprised because precisely that has been the position of them even 2-3 weeks before. The spokesman has said that, the ambassador to the Philippines has said that. But as the president said, it will not stop him from raising the issue, and he did.
Did he make any or offer new
And by
arguments?
the way, the president of China expressed, he said that he was not offended by the president raising that issue. He didn't explain.
Did,
That's how the people who were there related to me. All of them have the same version.
did President Duterte offer any new arguments or reasons why China should abide by the arbitral ruling?
No, the decision of the arbitral body is clear enough that there is no need for you to elaborate or anybody to elaborate on that.
Sir?
But Chinese government does not recognize it. So
Sir, are you aware kung gaano kahaba yung usapan ni Presidente at ni President Xi on the issue?
sabi naman ng mga nandun, hindi naman matagal.
Sir.
Henry?
Secretary, what's going to happen next? Anong mga hakbang ang susunod na gagawin ng gobyerno pag babawalan na ba natin silang maglagay ng mga istruktura sa West Philippine Sea? Mayroon ba tayong paghihigpit on our part na gagawin ngayong narinig na ni President Xi Jinping yung posisyon ng Pangulo na it is final, unappealable, and binding?
What they have agreed upon is that both countries will refrain or avoid performing aggressive, provocative acts that will trigger incidents that have been done before. That both of them agree that they should observe international law and UNCLOS for the regional peace and security.
Yung issue ng exclusive economic zone, patuloy pa rin yung agreement ho na pwedeng makapangisda yung mga Pinoy at ganoon din yung mga Chinese. O hindi ba pwedeng wala bang napag-usapan na dapat exclusive na ito sa Pilipino sapagkat binding, final, and not appealable na
That
yun?
does not mean touch upon. What has been touched upon was the self-restraint imposed by the two governments on themselves not to perform acts that could trigger any hostilities within the area.
Ano yung mga offers naman ni President Xi Jinping, if I could possibly mention? Baka may mga
Walang offer.
trade-off or baka mayroong mga additional assistance, loans,
Wala
whatsoever?
naman. What they agreed upon is to continue with the dialogue peacefully to resolve the issue and to continue with the bilateral relations with respect to all aspects, trade relations, people-to-people exchange, cultural exchange. With respect to the Reed Bank, the president expressed appreciation to the fact that Chinese side was offering compensation or open to compensation. And the fact that the Chinese side recognized the responsibility of compensating the fishermen who almost lost their lives.
But the fishermen who did that are not exempted from any criminal liability, Secretary.
Well, with respect to the Chinese government, yes. With respect to us, I do not know whether we're going to pursue that.
Why?
The fishermen should be the one pursuing that because they're the ones who are victims of that.
Pero tutulungan ba sila?
Of course, the government will always help.
Okay, so kung ipupurso nila yung criminal aspect, tutulungan ng gobyerno yung mga mangingisda sa Mindoro?
Definitely, yes.
All right, thank you.
So just on the question of Joseph Pawalco, did the president raise the issue of arbitral ruling just for the sake of raising it, or did he want something to be done in the soonest
Of
possible
course,
time?
when you raise an issue which is an area of conflict, you want it known to them, your position. And at the same time, you want it known to them that you want this enforced.
So-
That should be the intention.
And now
Now,
that
whether or not it will be enforced by the other side is another story.
President Xi again rejected it, ano yung next step for the Philippines to actually enforce the ruling?
Well, what they agreed upon is to continue with the dialogue peacefully to resolve the issue. Meanwhile, they agree that that is not the only basis for the friendship of the two countries, that it should be anchored on the century-long friendship, and that the ties that bind them should be based on the benefits that will redound to the two peoples, based on cooperation with the two countries.
Will President Duterte refrain from again discussing it in the future? Ito na ba yung last na ano, or na babanggitin niya to kay President?
Well, since they already agreed that that matter should be subject of continuing negotiation, eh ganun na nga yun. In other words, it does not stop. Ganun pa rin. Mag-uusap pa rin sila peacefully through the mechanism of negotiation.
Sir, how about the issue of Pogos?
Pogo, during the bilateral meeting, the president of China expressed appreciation of the suspension of Pogo applicants. But he mentioned, I clearly heard him saying that they would appreciate more if the Pogo operations completely ceased. Because, he explained, because according to them, gambling is illegal in China, and most of the players there are Chinese nationals, and also crimes are being committed with respect to that, like money laundering. That is the concern of the president.
And how did President Duterte respond?
The president did not respond to that. Did not. Which one? No.
Oh, yeah. Ambassador Chito Santa.
Sir, Chef, balik lang tayo sa arbitral ruling. If this were a mission to
Yeah.
bring up the arbitral ruling, would you say, given what had happened, would you say, how would you describe this? Is this a success or a failure?
As the president himself describes it, the dialogue or the bilateral meeting between the two countries went very well. For one, the president, as I earlier said, unequivocally, assertively, but friendly, asserted the arbitral ruling, as he committed himself not only to the Chinese government, more importantly to the Filipino people, and he did that. Number two, both countries agree to cooperate with each other for the purpose of giving benefits to both peoples of the two countries, as well as geared towards the maintenance of regional peace and stability. And at the same time, there were agreements entered into that will redound to the benefit of the Filipino people on many aspects: cultural, technology, education, defense.
Sir, how does the president feel about the sentiment of President Xi na we're not budging, we're not recognizing the arbitral tribunal? How does it feel about
neither
that?
are we budging. So,
He doesn't mind
kumbaga,
that kind of response.
tabla. Kumbaga, wala silang magawa sa atin, sa ngayon wala rin tayo magawa.
How do you describe it?
Well, they are, because as I said earlier, apparently both of them have mutual respect with each other. As the president said, given the fact that they already stated their position that they will not budge, and yet the president still asserted it. Di ba, ordinarily, medyo baka maasar ka. Pero he said, I'm not offended by you raising this issue. But as we have already said, 3 years earlier when you first came here, we will never alter our position on the matter.
So, ibig sabihin ba niyan, because of that talk, are we setting aside the arbitral award?
Not really, because precisely both of them agree that they will continue to talk to amicably settle the issue through the mechanism of negotiation.
Because nobody is
Tuloy pa
budging
rin.
from either side, do you think that the ruling is useless?
Not really,
Why?
because the ruling is permanent, whether they like it or not, until the end of time. It's there.
How will it help the Philippines, considering China will not move at all?
Considering that, as both agree, that is not the sum total, that is not the only base of our relationship, there are many areas where we can agree on. So let's talk about the things that we share mutually and benefit from them, rather than continue quarreling on this particular issue.
Will it still
Meanwhile, let's just talk about it peacefully while we concentrate on other things.
the president has 3 more years. Will he still raise it in the future?
I don't think you need to raise it, because they said they will continue with a peaceful dialogue in resolving the issue while they're concentrating on other areas of concern that would be mutually beneficial to both countries.
Yun muna, sir.
Ace, then Rosalie and Tia.
Sec Xinhua quoted President
Xinhua?
Xinhua News Agency
Ah.
quoted President Xi as saying, as long as the two sides handle the South China Sea properly, the atmosphere of bilateral ties will be sound, the foundation of the relationship will be stable, regional peace and stability will have an important guarantee. Does the President agree with that
In
statement?
fact, both of them agree on that they should handle it correctly. In other words, precisely they both agree that both countries should exercise self-restraint and to refrain from performing aggressive or provocative acts
So that
that may impair the ties.
so that's the
between them.
meaning. That's the meaning of the handle the issue properly. Yun yung ibig sabihin. nun.
Yes. That's,
Hindi naman yung hindi na natin i-erase.
no,
yung, hindi
yun
naman.
nga ang pinag-agrihan nila.
So when we say yung
Because the president
Mm.
particularly raised the issue on the warships coming in without us being notified. So he raised that concern.
can you specify what actions constitute aggressive acts that could impair yung relationship? Ano yung actions na sinasabi nyo that should not be done by the two countries para hindi masira yung relationship?
Well, like, for instance, if you keep on coming in and out of our territorial waters without even letting us know.
Yun. So yung mga
That is one.
unannounced entry sa Philippine waters,
Yes.
ano pa, Sec?
Oh, if you perform acts of harassment against our fishermen,
Okay.
that's another. Any negative act can be considered a provocative act that will make us react,
So yung pagharang sa mga
and vice versa.
So yung pagharang sa fishing boats ng Filipinos or depriving them of access sa mga fishing areas,
Yeah.
kasama yon. So
Yes, that's part of it.
they agree wala na dapat ganon yung China.
So, sabi nila, we will no longer perform aggressive acts. Kaya nga self-restraint eh.
We will no longer. Si China
Hindi naman
nagsabi.
sinabing we were no longer. Parang yun ang nagiging logical conclusion ng agreement nilang dalawa eh. That,
Oh.
that there should be self-restraint on the part of both countries.
What happens if such act is committed?
Oh, and then let's see how either of the countries will react to that. But ordinarily, the reaction will be you file a diplomatic protest, then you discuss again why there is a repeat
Hindi ba bad faith na yun kung paulit-ulit lang?
Precisely, kaya ka nga magreklamo eh.
Okay. Sige, yun muna, Sec.
I-press ko lang po yung sa question A's. Kasi this time, directly in-address ni President Duterte yung arbitral ruling. So, para sa mga kababayan natin, may iwasan na natin yung mga katulad na insidente sa Reed Bank o sa Recto Bank at yung pagpasok ng mga Chinese vessel dahil sa pag-raise ni Pangulong Duterte ng arbitral ruling, sir.
Yes, because that is precisely the agreement between the two countries. They will exercise self-restraint.
And this time,
And because according
We
to
still
both
trust
of them, that is necessary for regional peace and stability and maritime safety.
pero sir, as always naman, hindi naman tayo lumalabag doon sa pag-uusap ng self-restraint, pati doon sa freedom of navigation ever since hindi tayo lumabag.
Sa parte natin.
Pero
Alam
ang
ko
China,
Sa parte natin, hindi tayo lumalabag. Hindi natin alam kung sa parte nila lumalabag tayo.
pero sa arbitral ruling, sir, tayo yung may karapatan, sir.
Tayo yung may karapatan, pero they are insisting also na sila ang may karapatan. Yun nga ang problema eh. Mayroong conflict eh. Kaya nga nag-agree na yung dalawa na, sige, ilagay muna natin dyan, continue dialogue peacefully with that. Dito muna tayo sa mas malaking area na mag-usap tayo na makakatulong sa mga kababayan natin. Which I think is the correct posturing of two countries. Because they cannot forever argue endlessly with something that either one of them will not budge, while 90% of certain areas of concern that can be beneficial to both countries are there waiting for them.
Sir, does the President ever see the possibility of China changing their position in the next 3 years because we have pursued peaceful dialogues
Well,
with China?
nothing is impossible between friends. Diba?
But given, sir, that the China is very firm in their position, maasa pa rin po ba tayo na mababago yon in the next
We
3
can always
years?
hope for the best. Yun ang
So, hanggang doon na lang, sir?
sinabi na nga ng dalawang bansa, hindi yon ang sum total ng relasyon natin. Mas marami tayong mapapakinabangan dito sa ibang aspeto ng buhay. Kaya di ba maganda nga yun? Pero tuloy pa rin tayo. Mag-usap pa rin tayo dyan sa area yan. Hindi pa natatapos ang usapan natin. Kaya lang, peacefully, yan ang palagi sinasabi nila.
So, what is the most ideal
Kasi sabi nga
result?
ni President, negotiation is the key word, not confrontation. And presidency agree.
So, sir, what is the most ideal result that the Philippine government wants to achieve with these peaceful dialogues in the remainder of President Duterte's term?
Well, the ideal there is, with respect to the conflict, we're still discussing peacefully how to resolve it. But with respect to more areas that both countries may benefit, nandun tayo. Nandun ang concentration natin.
But as far as the resolution of the territorial dispute is concerned, do you think na kaya yon with peaceful negotiation?
Bakit naman hindi? Lahat naman napag-uusapan eh. You must remember that all the countries of the world resort to that.
So how does the Philippine government intend to achieve that through peaceful dialogue, sir?
May continuing dialogue nga. Di ba meron tayong mechanism for negotiation?
So,
In
yun nga,
place
sir.
naman yun eh. Palaging nag-uusap.
So how can this continuing mechanism, sir, ever get us to the result that we want, which is the resolution of the territorial
Let the
dispute?
negotiation proceed. And let's see how it develops and evolves into a peaceful solution. What is important is we're not stopping from discussing it and trying to resolve the same.
So at least may game plan ang Philippines.
Oh, definitely meron.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sir, good morning. Sir, wala pa tayong code of conduct and ang target, according to your statement, matapos o mabuo yung code of conduct before...
As early as possible, gusto ni presidency. Kung pa pwede, sabi niya, within your term.
Okay. So since wala pa tayong code of conduct, sir, ano po yung maging assurance? Kasi marami sa mga kababayan natin, especially sa mga Pilipinong mangingisda, ang umaasa na magkakaroon ng magandang kahihinatnan itong pag-push ni Pangulong Duterte.
Hindi
sa
nga ba
issue ng-
sinabi na natin kanina, both countries nga will restrain, yun ang sagot na, will restrain performing acts provocative or aggressive enough to trigger hostilities. Kaya nga yung ano doon.
So what if kung yung China, sir, may ginawa na naman dun sa mga
O
mangisda
hindi,
natin?
balik tayo doon sa pag-uusap.
Okay, sir.
Hi, sir. Sir, yung restraint in, ano ba, pwede ba nating aggressive acts or irritants, if you can say that? Does it include yung self-restraint, the activities that we have to restrain from doing? Does it include, number one, building of structures, additional structures in the areas?
Hindi natin alam kung kasama yun. Hindi ko alam kung parte yun. Siguro that will depend on both countries kung anong tingin nila.
Does it also include
Kasi
maybe...
tayo, nagbibuild din tayo, di ba?
Well, yeah. Okay. So, okay. And then also, does it also include maybe decreasing the presence of the Chinese in the area?
I think so. I understand from the Western Command, there has been a considerable reduction of the presence of warships. Yeah, hindi ba may statement sila na dati-dati ang dami tapos sandali, isa, dalawa na lang.
So, ibig sabihin, sir, tabla tayo, walang galawan. Wala nang idadagdag na galaw. Tama?
Parang gano'n lang lumalabas. Basta huwag nang magdadagdag pa ng dadagdag na sigalot doon sa lugar na yun.
Yun man na, sir.
Sir, but isn't it a fact that the arbitral ruling is central to whatever cooperation that Philippines and China would have in the future?
Not necessarily. The fact is, we have been in other areas, the trade relations, the people-to-people exchange, the cultural exchange, the tourist aspect. Ang dami.
How about joint developments in
The
South
what?
China Sea, particularly West Philippine Sea, areas inside our exclusive economic zone?
Oo nga, pero stalemate tayo doon. There is an impasse there. Kasi hindi ka nagkakasundo doon sa portion na yun. Kaya nagko-concentrate ngayon sa pwedeng papakinabangan ng dalawang bansa.
And before the president steps down in 2022, do you think that stalemate, that impasse would somehow be
Hopefully,
resolved?
you must remember that during the previous administration, masama nga relasyon natin. Wala tayo nakuha doon kahit na ano. And that reminds me, the president also repeated his appreciation for what the Chinese government did, helping us during calamities, establishing of 2 rehabilitation centers, and also giving us gratis et amore for free some military equipments. Marami siyang pinasalamatan.
Sir, yung loan agreements kagabi, yung mga agreements na yun, magkano yung involved doon in terms of monetary
Oh, that reminds me,
assistance?
now that you mentioned, I remember President Xi saying about the loan interest. He said that he will not lower, but he will refer it to the appropriate body to study whether that can be done. To lower.
Yung mga agreements kagabi, sir, magkano lahat yung involved doon? Yung 6 na agreements kagabi.
6?
Oo, na napirmahan
Yeah.
during the
What
bilateral
about?
meeting. Magkano yung involved doon lahat
Hindi ko alam kung
yung loan
anong
facilities?
involved. Hindi ko alam kung anong involved.
Okay. Thanks.
Secretary, kung if I'm not mistaken, pang-5 state visit na ng Pangulo, pang-8 bilateral meeting na niya with the presidency. Ano? How would you describe this bilateral talks last night? Failure or victory?
That was already asked, and my response was describing in his own words, the president said, it went very well.
Now, to be exact,
Oh, if it went very well, how can it be a failure?
but of course, yung sa arbitral ruling, you consider this...
Uulitin na naman natin. Yun nga sinasabi nga ng dalawang bansa, this is not the sum total of our relationship. Kung baga 10% niya, 90% muna, dito muna tayo. Pero tuloy pa rin natin ang pag-uusap natin.
From the point of view of a lawyer, Chief Presidential Legal Counsel, Secretary and Spokesperson, sa tingin ho ba ninyo talagang hindi isusuko ng China itong labang ito?
They can speak for themselves. As far as we're concerned, we are not. As the President articulated eloquently last night, he said, the arbitral ruling is final and not subject to appeal.
So ang presidente ang hindi susuko dito?
As far as we're concerned, hindi tayo susuko.
Okay.
Sa clarification, sinabi nyo both leaders agreed to observe UNCLOS and international law?
Yeah.
On what aspect?
Lahat, kung ano nakalagay sa UNCLOS, dapat susundin.
Yung arbitral
I
ruling
remember,
ay base sa UNCLOS?
in fact, the spokesman, prior to the visit, already issued a statement that if we only now can observe the international law on UNCLOS and so forth and so on, walang gulo.
Yung arbitral ruling po ay base sa UNCLOS. Hindi ho nila nire-recognize. Hindi ba double talk yun?
Sasabihin nila sa'yo, amin yan eh. Kaya hindi naman nire-recognize. Ano magagawa mo to kung yan ang pinagpipilitan nila?
So hindi na challenge ba ni President Duterte yun? Or yung contradiction na yun?
Hindi na pinag-usapan yan. Basta ang pinag-uusapan doon, hindi tayo magkasundo dyan. No? Pag-usapan pa rin, tuloy natin at dito naman tayo sa iba na makakatulong sa dalawang bansa. Yun ang mahalaga doon.
Merong kasing suggestions na since in-erase na yung arbitral ruling, meron pa rin mga suggestions na i-involve yung international community that we seek international support for yung pag-assert natin nung arbitral ruling. Is the President inclined to do that? Yung we seek international support for this arbitral ruling?
I think the President is very smart enough. He's handling the conflict quite effectively. Those who may want to use other methods, I guess they have to run for the presidency and be president and then apply what they want.
So we stick to bilateral?
Yes.
Bilateral muna tayo. Okay.
Sir, we get naman that there's several layers to the relationship and the arbitral award is not the
Only
sum
an
all.
aspect. Yeah.
Correct. Okay, but if we go now to exploitation of resources.
Oh yeah. Oh, nga pala. We have
Steering
the
committee?
president of China was saying that the steering committee should now work for a substantial program on the matter. In other words, let's start
May
joint exploration.
May structure na po ba ito? Because si Secretary Cruz was also in the bilat, no? Ibig sabihin, ano ba to?
I think they have already created a steering committee. I don't know who the members are. Meron na eh. Kasi steering, sabi niya, steering committee, something go.
The membership would be Philippines and China? Or just China?
Siyempre dalawa.
Okay.
Dalawa yun.
So sir, going back to my question. Okay, fine. Yung arbitral ruling is just one of three, maybe aspects that you can discuss. But when it comes to allocation of resources,
What do you mean allocation?
within the EEZ, ang ibig sabihin, sino yung pwedeng makinabang sa isda doon or in the joint exploration, oil resources. When we come to dig, ano yung magiging legal basis for the sharing?
I think whatever they agree upon, in other words, they have to craft terms of references. There should be terms and conditions that will cover the joint exploration, mutually satisfactory to both sides.
And not necessarily referring to the arbitral award.
Not necessarily what?
Not necessarily referring to or making a basis of the arbitral award. Because it says EEZ is for the Philippines. But you have probably Reed Bank, which is in our EEZ, meaning dapat exclusive and 100% Filipino lang na makikinabang. But you have China trying to get in. So that's where the conflict is. The arbitral award allocates the EEZ, but China wants to step in. Paano, sir, yung conflict?
That's why, precisely, kaya tayo merong dialogue eh. They can always agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sir, balik lang sa Pogo. May binanggit po ba si Presidente? Did he make any statement regarding the willingness of the Philippines to help China in cracking down on criminals, criminal
in a general
elements of
way,
the
both of them agree that they would be continuing to help each other in combating crime, cybercrime, terrorism, drugs, criminality, piracy, lahat yun. Yung napagkasundo nila kagabi. Tuloy yung cooperation. In fact, the President was saying that by reason of the help of the Chinese government, it was able to stop terrorism in Mindanao during the Marawi siege. In other words, nagtutulungan because there's such thing as sharing of intelligence, for instance. Crime prevention and crime fighting.
Maybe
So kasama yun.
did the President inform President Xi that Pogo's online gambling activities are legal in the Philippines?
Oo.
Sinabi niya.
Hindi, wala siyang binanggit pero earlier on sinabi niya, di ba nag-statement na ako noon. When I asked the President,
But did
No,
he
hindi.
mention it during the bilateral meetings?
hindi nabanggit yun.
Ace, and last three na tayo. Ace, Hannah, and then Joseph.
Sec clarification, nabanggit ba ni President Xi yung sinabi dati ng Defense Ministry to ban all online gambling in the Philippines, yung kanilang pakiusap?
Sinabi nga ni President Xi, di ba? He expressed appreciation for what we did in suspending new applicants. But he said they will appreciate more if Pogo will be eliminated or stopped.
And the President's response was?
Wala siyang binanggit. Wala siyang nabanggit doon.
Okay. Ano ngayon yung...
Kasi ang nangyari doon, mahaba yung winelcome siya. Tapos yung si Presidente, ang haba ng daming aspects eh. Kaya nung sinagot naman ni si, hindi na makaka-respond si Presidente kasi na yun, thank you very much. Nagpasalamat na, tayuan na kami lahat.
So ano ngayon yung response ng administration sa appeal na yon? Yung sinabi niya na, okay, we would appreciate if you ban it all together. Ano yung stand natin? Will we ban?
The President has not said anything about it. But I suppose he will have to study since there is, although there was no request, there was only an implied request.
Yes.
The President most likely will study.
He will study yung banning nung online.
Ang pag-aaralan doon, ano bang mawawala sa atin kung itigil mo yung online gaming? Will it affect the budget? You must remember that the revenues are coming in. So they will have to consult with the finance department. Ano bang magiging niyan?
So you're going to study yung implications
Oo,
and
syempre,
impact
yun ang
sa
importante
economy.
kung anong implikasyon.
Pati yung sa crime aspect, yung sa workers.
Sa ngayon siguro, what we can do, as we said earlier, we can be very strict on the operation, following rules and regulations and the law. Yun ang magagawa mo natin.
Curious lang ako, Sec. Nabanggit yung sa, ano, di ba, yung sa self-restraint. Did the President mention yung previous statement nyo na, ano, na if we fail to notify in advance or if we fail to meet yung requirements na i-alert muna yung government about the passage, may unfriendly response?
Wala siyang binanggit na gano'n na may unfriendly response. Pero inulit niya yun. Nagiging irritant ito, dumaran, wala man lang kayong pasabi.
Inulit niya yun nung meeting?
Inulit niya yun
Okay.
during the bilateral. Mahaba nga yung kanyang statement eh.
Okay.
I was even afraid na, paano pa makaka-respond to sa haba? Halos more than 30 minutes siya nagsasalita. No? Dahil ang dami niyang ano eh. On the worship alone? Hindi, ang dami eh. Ang dami.
So did President Xi guarantee na okay, hindi na mauulit yon?
Hindi, ang statement niya nga palaging mag-self-restraint tayo.
General terms.
Palaging general terms.
Okay. Salamat, Sec.
Okay, last three, Hannah, Marlon, and Joseph.
Hi sir, photos, nailabas pa ng mga photos last night
Photos?
po. Yes po. President Duterte meeting after Jackie Chan po. Part po to ng schedule or biglaan po sila nag-meet?
Hindi ko alam. Hindi ko nga nakilala si Jackie Chan. Kasi hindi ko nakilala.
Serious, sir?
Between us, ibang itsura niya.
And we know who he looks like,
Kasi nung pagpasok namin dun sa suite ni Presidente, parang nagkagulo sila, nagpamasok sila sa isang kwarto. Ako naman, I was busy studying na how to drop the statement. Kaya nandun ako sa tabi. Tapos, may nakita kong mama. Sabi ko, parang Amerikano ka. Sino kaya ito? Hindi ko napansin eh. So, pinabayaan ko lang. So, matagal sila ron. Pagkatapos nung matapos natin, umalis si Presidente. Ako naman, busy na ako nagka-crap sa aking cellphone. Nilapitan ako ni Lisette. Sabi niya, Sir, hindi ba kayo makapag-selfie kay Jackie Chan? Sino yung artista? Bakit? Nasaan siya? Siya nga yung Siya ba?
Ano yan, sir?
Akala ko lang may ka-meeting siya, private.
So kasama sa schedule po ni Pangulo yun?
Ay, hindi ko alam kung kasama sa schedule doon. Basta nakita ko, pumasok siya doon sa adjoining room. So, hindi ka nagpa-selfie? Hindi, lahat nga kami, pati si ES.
So, pero wala kang idea, sir, bakit may pinakita si Jackie Chan sa kanya, may book siyang binigay?
Wala yun, kasi wala ako sa kwarto, nandun ako sa living room eh. Hindi ako pumasok eh. Pumasok lang ako nung sinabi, Sir, ayaw niyo ba magpa-selfie kay Jackie Chan? Kasi lahat sila isa-isa nagpapa-selfie. Sabi ko, Mr. Jackie Chan, I didn't recognize you.
So, nakausap mo siya, sir? So, nakausap niya siya, sir? Hindi
Chinese
niya
ang
tinanong?
sagot eh, hindi ko maintindihan eh.
Wait, sir, wait lang. So, nakausap niya si Jackie Chan, hindi niya naitanong ano yung purpose ng meeting nila?
Hindi. Marunong English yun?
Oo, sir. May mga English movies.
Hindi, wala. Basta puro lang selfie. Kasi lahat nagmamadali selfie, bawat isa eh.
So,
Baka naman courtesy call lang yan. Most likely courtesy call lang.
okay. Sir, wala kayong alam, sir, kung anong pinag-usapan nila, sir?
Wala. I was not there eh. I didn't even know na.
Sir, can
I
you
was at the
confirm?
adjoining room eh.
Can you confirm yung report po, sir?
Tama, iba, kahit yan o, nakasalamin, iba itsura eh.
Sir, can you confirm report po, sir, na nag-host po daw ng lunch si Michael Yang kay President Duterte and his...
Hindi ko alam kung sino nag-host na. Balitaan ko lang sa inyo. Nagtatanong kayo. Hindi ko maalam. Wala naman ako doon sa lunch.
So, yung kahapon na lunch po, hindi po
Hindi
kayo
ko
sure?
alam eh. I was not there. I was having lunch downstairs.
Last question for me, sir. Nag-comment, sinabi po daw si Pangulong Duterte regarding po dun sa mass Hong Kong protest po. Ano pong sinabi ni Pangulo at ano po yung naging reaction po ni President Xi?
Parang hindi ko na maano yung ano. Basta parang that we respect the rule of law. Yun ang sinabi ni Presidente. And the President of China appreciates that statement.
Okay, sir.
Last two, Marlon, and then Joseph.
Sir, Secretary Locsin in a Twitter post yesterday, the other day, in addressing himself to the morons, he said that the Philippine government has yet to accept the offer of apology from the Chinese fishing group, and it should be the fisherman. So officially, sir, how does the Philippine government treat the offer of apology?
Well, I already
dun sa
made,
leak?
issued a statement because I asked the President himself. Sabi ko, may letter of apology rito, ganito, ganyan. Okay ba sa'yo yan, Mr. President? Okay na yun. Yun ang kanyang ano. Siguro, first, baka hindi alam ni Secretary Locsin na okay na kay Presidente. Pangalawa, yung tweetan niya, parang sinasabi niya, hindi naman ako fisherman ba't naman ako tatanggap ng apology. So, I think yun ang context.
So, hindi po kayo nag-usap regarding this?
Hindi pa.
Hindi pa.
But he wanted to talk to me though, pero he left na. Baka yun, baka tungkol doon.
Kasi
Teddy Boy.
kahapon po Ambassador Santa Romana also mentioned that it is the Filipino fishermen who should acknowledge the apology and not the Philippine government. Now,
No, tayo
that-
lang naman, we appreciate the fact that they apologize. Hindi natin, hindi yung sinasabi mo, tinanggap. Hindi naman tayo tatanggap na siyempre yung fisherman talaga. But we appreciate the fact na nag-apologize sila. Kasi di ba, ang reaction nga natin, iniwan mo yung mga kasama natin doon.
what happens to your earlier statement accepting the apology?
Hindi naman
In behalf-
accepting yung sabi ko. I said we are pleased to note that.
Here, you
Ano
accept.
sinabi ko?
You accept
Hindi,
the
basahin
apology.
nyo. Ano ba? Read it.
Basa.
Basahin. Basta tinanong ko si Presidente, okay ba sa ito? Sabi niya, yes.
Sir, hanapin lang, sir. You mentioned that yes, sir. Ayan.
Sec, eto.
Ah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth paragraph. In relation to this, we accept the recent apology extended by the owner of the Chinese vessel to our
Oo.
fishermen affected by the...
We accept the fact of the apology. Because the President told me to include that in the statement.
Nakalagay kasi we accept the recent apology. We accept the recent apology.
Kaya nga, kasi the letter of apology was addressed to the fisherman. So we're accepting that fact of apology. But, if you will ask me kung okay kay Presidente, tinanong ko siya Mr. President, ito yung may letter of apology, ganyan. Okay ba sa ito? Okay yan.
Okay, Sec.
Isama mo sa statement.
Just to clarify lang, sir.
But, tama rin naman si Secretary kasi sinabi niya, dapat talagang tumatanggap ng apology. Kung okay sa kanila, kung hindi sila okay, magagawa natin.
Sir, sorry, just to clarify, ano na po yung position ngayon ng Palasyo regarding this? Are you accepting the
Let me quote the
apology?
President.
Okay.
The wreck-to-bank incident in June gained much attention from our people and internationally as the lives of 22 of our fishermen had been endangered. I note that your side has recognized and confirmed the responsibility of the Chinese fishing crew and appreciate China's readiness to provide the necessary compensation for our fishermen who almost lost their lives at sea. This is a step in the right direction. I reiterate our desire for the filing or application of appropriate sanctions against the Chinese crew in the interest of achieving closure, manifesting good faith and demonstrating China's resort to an event to prevent a repeat of the incident. That's the words of the President in addressing that issue.
Sir, sorry. Another topic lang. Bucor and Senator Lacson disclosed that almost 2,000 convicts were sentenced for committing heinous crimes were recently released due to the GCTA mechanism. How does the palace respond?
Well, if they were qualified, then they
Heinous
should follow
crimes.
the law.
Heinous crimes.
Heinous crime. And then that cannot be done because the law is very clear. Republic 10592 is very clear that those charged and convicted of heinous crimes, escapees, habitual delinquents, and recidivists are not covered by the law.
So, paano?
Already. Obviously, dapat makabalik sila sa kulungan until they serve the full term of their service.
And 48 of them are drug lords, including Chinese drug lords.
Basta the president, at the inception of his career as a public official, his slogan was and is until now, what the law is, just follow it.
Sir, but the law also specifically stated that the grant of GCTA cannot be revoked. It's very clear in the law. How do you now address
When
this?
you say it cannot be revoked, it assumes that the grantee are qualified. If they are not qualified, how can you apply that provision?
Okay, sir. So,
Last, Joseph. Last question na si Joseph, ha?
Sir, ano lang, how did the president bring up the warships? What was his concern when he talked about it?
Let me quote him then. Here. We have time and again reaffirmed the South China Sea as a sea of peace, stability, and prosperity. However, in the past few months, our authorities have cited various Chinese military and survey vessels entering and navigating through our waters. This is of deep concern for us. The UNCLOS recognizes the right to exercise innocent passage, that is, continuous and expeditious passage while refraining from actions specifically prohibited by law. We wish to avoid untoward incidents, misunderstanding, and tensions. I would like all vessels entering our domain to fully comply with the law, keeping radio communication channels open and active, and acknowledging our attempts at contacts are crucial. Otherwise, such activities run counter to our efforts at managing the South China Sea issue.
In other words, he doesn't want to see any more of those activities, correct?
In other words, he doesn't want that repeated again.
Okay.
And precisely, I think that's why the president of China made a statement of we should observe self-restraint and avoid acts that will provoke either side.
Sir, yun lang pong sa compensation. Legally, ang sabi niyo po, the government, may pawis ka, sir, willing to help the, ano ba to? The fishermen in maybe filing a criminal case. But what is going to be the violation if it is a criminal case?
Or the reckless imprudence resulting to damage to property.
Philippine law. Okay. Para sir, yung, kasi I think we have an interview with the fisherman yesterday, paano po mag-a-avail ng monetary compensation?
Ay siguro magpa-file ng claim.
Kanino po?
Ay hindi ko alam kung ano pa. Dapat may mechanism. Siguro
That's my question, sir. Paano?
they will provide.
Yeah.
I'm not knowledgeable on the process of filing a claim with respect to this maritime incident.
Maybe DFA?
We'll ask para sigurado. Pero we can help them how to do it.
So, commitment, sir, is yung sa monetary compensation and the legal. And
Yes.
just a complete statement, sir, that for the fishermen, if they're listening right now.
The fisherman, if you're listening, we can help you in filing your claim, and if you're interested in pursuing a criminal case, we will assist you too.
Sir, sa ano lang, arbitral ruling, because of what the product of the meeting, no, do we need to re-strategize?
The what?
Re-strategize.
Hindi ba may agreement na nga silang continue the dialogue peacefully to resolve it.
So na yun. And you don't, sabi niyo po kanina, there's no need for the president to raise it again in the future, no?
Unless na merong development doon sa peaceful dialogue, di ba?
But
Baka magkaroon ng breakthrough.
for the meantime, pahinga muna tayo sa pag-raise nun.
And then, na-raise na nga natin.
Yeah.
Kaya raise lang. Alam namang paulit-ulit ka nagre-raise.
Okay, copy, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Secretary Panelo.
Thank you.
MPC from Beijing, China. Balik po tayo sa People's Television Network.